What's going on, my friends? I hope you're having an amazing week, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Don't let me stop you from enjoying your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I wanted to do one more live stream real quick before the weekend hits about one of the most mind-boggling, baffling things I've seen in a while. But, in today's state, 2018 political climate, nothing's really surprising anymore. It's like one big episode of The Twilight Zone. So what happened today, before I wait about 30 seconds for people to get into the live stream, is a senior editor at Mother Jones. And if anybody doesn't know what Mother Jones is, they're like a super left-leaning news organization. They're like super feminist and super social justice warrior. And they're like, I'm the real liberal and I'm better than you. They're now smearing other liberals. They're smearing left-leaning progressives and left-leaning journalists who are anti-war. I mean, it sounds fake. It sounds so ridiculous that I'm making this up, but I'm not. It's totally real. A left-leaning news organization is smearing other liberals and other progressives for not believing in regime change war and for literally being anti-war. I mean, this is a senior editor at a liberal news organization. It's baffling, but let's wait about 20 seconds for people to get into the live stream. As always, if you would like, you can follow me on Instagram at DreamRare. That's DreamRare. You can follow me on Twitter at Legendary Energy. Check the comment section. When I'm done, I'm going to post all my social media links, and I'm going to post my support donation link if you would like to support the news analysis. I appreciate that. And I'll also post my email list. They're all very important, especially now that they're using little kids for censorship. And, I'm not even going to talk about the Parkland kids anymore because the media's made it very clear they don't want people to talk about it. They're using it to censor and exploit kids and push their agenda, but that's okay. They don't want me to say that the kid's mom is a Planned Parenthood activist and she has VIP passes to CNN. They don't want me to say that the kid is filming anti-gun control interviews while there's an active shooter in the school. They don't want me to say that there were 3 police officers and an armed guard who are sitting outside the school not doing anything. They don't want me to say that. You're not allowed to say that anymore, so I'm not going to say it. I understand, Facebook is God. Twitter is God. God doesn't exist because these technocracy corporations, they're the real gods. Mother Joan is a god, so, I won't even go there. I'm not going to talk about the things they don't want me to talk about because it's very clear to me that the First Amendment doesn't exist, free speech doesn't exist, journalism doesn't exist, honesty doesn't exist, integrity doesn't exist, fairness and equality doesn't exist. As long as you could take a 16-year-old kid who has VIP passes to CNN 2 years before, you're allowed to push whatever agenda you want, and if you question it, you will be censored and silenced. I've had 2 videos taken down in the past 48 hours, and I've never had any videos taken down in 4 years. So I don't even want to talk about all that because we're not allowed to talk about it. So let's pretend like that never even existed. So I'm just going to tell you what happened with Caitlin Johnstone, who is one of the most popular independent news analysts on the planet. She's one of the most popular up-and-coming independent news journalists. Caitlin Johnstone is a super liberal. She's super left-leaning. She believes in a lot of socialist policies. She's flying off the charts on the left, and she's a very proud lefty. But what separates her from a lot of other left-leaning liberals is she's actually honest a lot, and she tells the truth, very often, and she's got integrity, and she's got ambition, and all these things that the other people don't have, so they don't like her. But one thing that, she is she's anti-war, she's anti-imperialism, and she's anti-regime change war. And that's okay. I mean, in my opinion, anyone should be able to feel how they feel. If you want to be pro-war and pro-imperialism and you want to go to other countries and have the United States kill the leader to leave a power vacuum for extremists to take over, you're allowed to have that opinion. I'm not God. I'm not, the almighty censorship who's going to tell people to silence you off the internet. I think you should be able to have an opinion. But the senior editor, Shane Bauer of Mother Jones, he writes, since Mike Cernovich, who is also a right-leaning conservative journalist, but everybody conservative nowadays are alt-right. They call them alt-right, and then they use that as a justification to shut them down. I told you this. They're going to use kids as a justification to censor people. They're going to use the word alt-right in the Charlottesville type events and the school shootings to justify. They're going to use Russia as a terms to justify. I've already told you this for years, so don't be surprised when it happens. But he says this is good, talking about the Medium, which is a very popular news website, they removed Mike Cernovich, so they don't let Mike Cernovich post articles anymore. So he said, this is good, but if Medium is serious about cracking down on conspiracy theorists, it needs to go beyond the alt-right and rein in the garbage published on Syria by people like Caitlin Johnstone. So he's calling for the censorship of a left-leaning liberal. He's telling this news organization not only that he doesn't agree with it, he's saying you shouldn't even be allowed to publish that because I don't agree with what you say about Syria. And the irony is, Caitlin Johnstone is anti-war. That's the one thing that I thought all liberals agreed on. If you're like a liberal, you're supposed to be like a peace-loving hippie. You're supposed to be anti-war, anti-imperialism. You would think that you would be anti-regime change war, but like I've said for months and years now, the mainstream media is so controlling. They're such brainwashers, and they have so much mind control on people. I know people that have gone to school for 8 years. They have doctorate degrees, but they're literally no better than mind-controlled slaves that literally just believe anything they read on CNN. So he thinks Caitlin Johnstone is a horrible person. He's calling her alt-right. She's a left-leaning liberal. He's calling her alt-right because she doesn't believe in regime change war in Syria. Regime change war in Libya has led to a power vacuum in which extremists have taken over. I mean, no news source will even disagree with that. If you look it up, they're all saying Libya is really, really bad. Libya is way worse than it was before. It's not even debatable. Even the most mainstream news organizations are telling you that Libya is way worse off. Well, what did we do in Libya? Let's look at the facts. We armed moderate rebels and we armed rebels to kill Gaddafi, the leader of Libya. So we arm rebels, they killed the leader, now there's a power vacuum where there's slave trade and organ harvesting in Libya. Nothing is liberal about that to me. I would think that's one thing that conservatives and liberals can agree on. It's like, hey, slave trade is bad. You would think that's like a liberal platform, but the 2018 liberals are and activists and feminists are so mind-controlled, so brainwashed, and such losers. I'm sorry, I can't think of a better word to call this guy because he's calling for the censorship of somebody else. He's saying Caitlin Johnstone's a conspiracy theorist and she's alt-right because she doesn't believe in regime change war. She's alt-right and she's a conspiracy theorist because she doesn't agree with imperialism. She doesn't want to go into Syria and just kill the leader and leave a complete power vacuum. Are you kidding me, Mother Jones? We're feminists and we're social advocates and we love black people more than you love black people and we love the Latinos more than you love the Latinos and we're the white feminists who are going to come save humanity and we're the best people in America and you're alt-right if you don't agree with me. They're smearing a liberal journalist, a left-leaning progressive journalist for being anti-imperialism. This is insane, but I have to even act surprised because I'm not surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore because people are so brainwashed and mind-controlled by the media, they can be convinced into anything. You now have Mother Jones senior editors attacking other liberals for being anti-war. It sounds like the most twisted episode of Black Mirror or, what's the other, The Twilight Zone or any sort of fictional 1984 Orwellian nightmare novel. But this is the reality. Mind-controlled liberals, because they're not, I call them fake liberals because don't get it misconstrued. I believe in real liberal values. I believe in anti-war and peace and love. But they're smearing any conservative and any Republican in the eyes of these complete buffoons. They think every conservative and libertarian and person who isn't, left-leaning, they think they're all alt-right. So Mike Cernovich is alt-right. Jack Poseic is alt-right. You're alt-right. You're alt-right. But now they're even going on to the left. So if you're a left-leaning person and you don't agree with Mother Jones, she's calling someone on the left alt-right. And she's saying, look, you and the alt-right get along because you both are anti-imperialism? I'm going to yell at you because you don't believe in regime change war? I mean, what part of killing the leader of Syria is liberal? I'm so confused by this, and I think you're allowed to have an opinion. There's some people that I respect that say Bashar al-Assad is a bad man who's the president of Syria. They say he's using chemical weapons on his people, and we need to go in there and stop him. I believe in your freedom to say that. I would never say to censor you. I would never say Mother Jones and Medium and take him off air, make him take away his First Amendment rights and don't publish him because I don't agree with that. I would never say that. I would debate them. I would challenge them in an argument, but I would never say to remove their opinion from the face of the earth. But this is what they do because they don't have an opinion, and that's what they're saying to people on the left now. And I've been warning progressives, no one cares about you, Bernie. I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not trying to like push you a certain way, because even me, I don't take a label. I don't consider myself conservative. I'm not Republican. I'm not right-wing. I'm not progressive. I don't even use the word independent. I'm just me. I'm calling it like I see it. But Bernie Sanders doesn't care about you. The left-leaning news organizations don't care about you. I wish they did. That's why I say what I say. People get mad at me and say, Anomalies, Fox News, because he's saying what I don't want him to say. I don't even watch Fox News. Sometimes I look at them and I'm like, they're fear-mongering and they have their own style. I'm not a fan of them either, but it's a no-brainer to me who's doing the best journalism. It's people like Tucker Carlson and other people. While, of course, he has an agenda, he's right-leaning and whatnot. I mean, the left has lost their damn minds. Now they're calling conservatives alt-right. They're saying anybody who's anti-war, anybody who doesn't believe in regime change war, who thinks it's a good idea to not kill the leader of Syria. I mean, it's a secular place. They celebrate Christmas. They're pro all religions. I'm sure they have their trials and tribulations, especially in the Middle East. It gets a little sketchy when you have all these religions, angry at each other. But why would I think it's a good idea to kill the leader of Syria and to attack the leader of Syria? It didn't work in Libya. Why in the world would it work in Syria? In my personal perspective, I'm anti-regime change war because it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like you kill the leader or you remove the leader. Who are you going to put in charge? The rebels? Even if it was bad, even if it is as bad as they're saying, which personally, I've looked at all the information, I think the mainstream media is ridiculously exaggerating. But even if every single thing that they've said is true about Bashar al-Assad, it would still, in my personal perspective, be a worse idea to remove him from power, because who are these rebels? Which rebel leader is capable of taking on an entire government that's fighting Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra and Syria and, Russia's involved and the United States is involved and Israel's involved and France is involved and, Iran's involved and Turkey's involved. It's a very complicated situation. God bless Syria. They're going through some real trials and tribulations. It's not an easy situation for any leader. So what part of removing Bashar al-Assad and putting in moderate rebels is going to make it a good idea? I think it's a horrible idea, but I don't care if someone disagrees with me. But somehow the senior editor at Mother Jones, I'm the feminist, I'm the liberal, I'm the social justice warrior, I care about black and Latino people more than you because I'm so good. I'm such a good feminist. I'm Mother Jones and I'm a white liberal. I'm going to protect the world. They're smearing left-leaning progressive liberal journalists for being anti-war. I should say it 10 times in a row because it's never going to get more ridiculous. A left-leaning senior reporter for Mother Jones is smearing and trying to destroy the career of a liberal, left-leaning, progressive, proud leftist journalist because she doesn't believe in imperialism, because she doesn't believe in regime change war, because she believes in letting a country be a country and, not just invading everywhere and killing everybody and letting it turn into Libya with slave trades and organ harvesting. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if what I say offends you. I'm sorry if what I say shatters your illusion. I'm sorry if what I say goes against everything else that you've ever read and CNN and New York Times and Mother Jones and NPR didn't tell you this. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that they didn't tell you this. I'm sorry that they told you one side of the story. But nothing about this makes sense. And I say these things because I'm a true liberal at heart. I believe in free speech. I believe in equality. I believe in freedom. All the things that the JFK era liberals believed in. I'm a real liberal. A fake liberal tries to censor other liberals because not only because they don't agree with them, even if Caitlin Johnstone said something crazy, I still wouldn't call for her censorship. But people said don't apologize. I'm not really apologizing. I'm just saying sorry. I'm not sorry. But a real liberal would not try to censor anyone, let alone trying to censor somebody because they're anti-war, anti-regime change war, and anti-imperialism. This is an all-time low. But every week they go lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. It is unanimous. It is unquestionable anymore. These people have no shame. They have no integrity. They have nothing but a ridiculous agenda that doesn't even make sense anymore. I would say put the facts over your agenda, put the truth over your agenda, put, what's really happening over your agenda, but their agenda doesn't even make sense. It's like, at least if you're going to push this agenda to the brink of the earth, at least make sense. Modern day liberals are anti-First Amendment, they're anti-Second Amendment, they're and you can say, oh, we just want minor gun reform, whatever. You can leave that one out if you want. I'm not even trying to get into that argument, but they're anti-free speech. They're pro-censorship. They're pro-internet closure. They're pro-intelligence communities. Like, oh, they couldn't possibly do any wrong. Like, how dare you question them? It's like nothing about their agenda even makes sense. They're pro-open borders. They're pro, not even like taking an honest look at what's going on in a bunch of different countries and, why it might be a good idea to temporarily vet people and stop, immigration from certain areas. Nothing like for any sensible or honest liberal or left-leaning person, there's nothing there. Someone said, you're a liar. I mean, look it up yourself, buddy. Shane Bauer. It's all over his page. He's smearing liberal journalists for being anti-war. I'm not making this up. You could say it a million times. You're lying. It's never going to not be true because it's a fact. They're smearing Caitlin Johnstone, who is a left-leaning journalist, and calling her alt-right and saying, oh, you and the alt-right get along on that. What does that say about Mother Jones? If the alt-right, according to them, which the real alt-right is not Mike Cernovich, the real alt-right is not Jack Passaic, and the real alt-right is not anybody who doesn't disagree with you. That's a total lie. The whole mainstream media has been pushing that because they can't even fathom that anyone would disagree with them. Even Bernie Sanders, he's like, if you don't like Hillary Clinton like I told you to, you must be Russian. I mean, they're slave masters. They think they're your slaves. That's why they pander to the black and Latino community, because they want to enslave everybody. They want to enslave white people who don't agree with them. They want to enslave the black and Latino community. And the second that you're black or Latino or you're white or you're a liberal or you're progressive and you don't think how they want you to think and you don't say what they want you to say, they will turn on you, they will silence you, they will censor you because they're the new slave masters. They're saying, Medium, it's good that you're getting rid of conservatives, but why don't you start getting rid of liberals too? I mean, this is some straight Hitler-style, Stalin-style stuff. This is just straight communism, to censor anybody that doesn't disagree with them. This is totalitarianism. This is what people accuse Donald Trump of doing. Is he doesn't say to censor CNN. He doesn't say to censor MSNBC. He calls them fake news because they are fake news. That's like, you could call Caitlin Johnstone fake news. You can call progressives fake news. You can call me fake news if you want to, but the second that you say, hey, they need to remove you from the internet and they shouldn't even publish you because you're alt-right. So you're admitting Mother Jones, the feminist, the liberal, the progressive news network, they're admitting that the alt-right is anti-war and anti-imperialism, and anybody who agrees with that, I mean, what does that say of you? If the so-called horrible alt-right is anti-war and you're pro-war, if that's the alt-right that's anti-war, and you're the liberals that are pro-war and pro-regime change and killing the leader of Syria, what does that make you? Are you the alt-right? Because if the alt-right is anti-war and you're pro-war and pro-imperialism, that must mean you are 20 steps below even the alt-right. I mean, it's so profoundly ridiculous that I just don't know when it's going to end, but it's never going to end until people take a look in the mirror, and this is what modern-day liberals apparently don't want to do. They don't want to self-reflect. They don't want to look in the mirror. They don't want to look at the Democratic Party and realize that it's a criminal organization that lies about everything, that uses kids to exploit their agenda, that pressures Facebook and Twitter to silence and censor anybody. They don't want to look in the mirror because they're part of it now. They have the Mother Jones and the Voxes who are playing right along. They're like, yes, censor everybody who doesn't agree with us. Yes, Trump is Hitler, but let's crack down on guns like Hitler did, because nothing about it makes absolute sense. It's such buffoonery, and it's never going to stop until people take a look in the mirror, but they're not. They're like blood-sucking leeches. They're like on this weird journey of just like destroying everything and shutting down everybody in their path, and I don't support it. Me and Caitlin Johnstone don't agree on every single topic, but I support her right to speak, especially when it comes to being anti-imperialism. If liberals are shutting up anti-imperialist journalists, what are we? We're not the United States of America. We're communist China. We're communist Soviet Union. If you're smearing and silencing liberal journalists from talking anti-war, welcome to communism. It's no longer a democracy. It's not a democracy anyway. It's an oligarchy at best. It's not a republic or a banana republic either. We're straight communist. If this type of stuff becomes normal, we are a communist country, and we should just admit it, because that's what communist countries do. They silence and smear liberal journalists from talking out against wars. And this is actual liberals. These are people. Shane Bauer probably sits in his tub and reads books on feminism and thinks he's the greatest person in the world. He's like, man, I'm so not racist. I'm such a good person. I love women more than other people. I love the black and Latino more people. Like, he probably thinks he's the greatest person, but he's not, because he's trying to censor liberal journalists from talking out against the wars, from talking out against imperialism. It's so bananas that I don't even know, like, what point will these people stop and take a look in the mirror and be like, you know what? We are the problem. We're the reason that Donald Trump won. We're the reason that we're probably going to lose the midterm elections, because you're scaring everybody away. There's, 20 million people that supported Bernie Sanders. There were 30, 40, 50 million people who liked Bernie Sanders, who were progressives ready to join the Democratic Party, and you scared them all away. You scared 40 million people away. There were people like me who didn't even vote for Donald Trump, who's just like an independent person with a free-thinking ability to make my own decisions. You scared me away. You scared, half the LGBT community away. You're scaring everybody away with your ridiculous agenda of like censorship and lack of common sense or integrity or honesty. I mean, what type of senior editor calls for the censorship of somebody on his political side for being anti-war because he's pro-war? I mean, that's how brainwashed and mind-controlled the media has liberals. They think it's a good idea to call for the censorship of other liberals and other progressives. And I stand up for everybody. They don't talk about me, that, they're too prideful. They love Bernie Sanders, even though Bernie Sanders hates them. All the progressives are afraid to support me, except for, I would say, Jared Beck. Much love to the Becks. That's the lawyer who published the DNC fraud lawsuit and lost two of his witnesses. Seth Rich passed away, and so did the guy who processed the lawsuit. I forget his name. So much love to Jared Beck. But none of the other progressives want to support me because they're afraid, because they only support Bernie Sanders, and the progressives are like, oh, we gotta do this. So I don't care. You guys, I know, you don't have to support me. That's fine. But I will continue to support you, Caitlin Johnstone, Jimmy Dore, even people that I disagree with, I think are kind of corny, like Kyle Kalinske. I support your right to speak. I will stand up for your freedom to not be censored, because trust me, I understand Caitlin Johnstone. I understand Jimmy Dore. I understand Kyle Kalinske even further than you guys understand. You think Bernie Sanders will save the day and universal health care will save the world, and everybody who doesn't want refugees and illegal immigrants and open borders are terrible people. I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but I know even more than you. I know that Bernie Sanders doesn't care about you. I know that these left-leaning news organizations, they don't care about you. They're ready to censor you. The same people that you're afraid to speak out about, or the same people that you're afraid to, talk about, they're ready to just completely take away your platform. They want you so bad. Bernie Sanders would love to see all of you completely silenced. There's nobody on the left anymore. I wish there was, because I don't like to pick sides. I'm a uniter, not a divider. But the left is out of control. They're out of control. At least the right, even if you're super liberal, at least the right believes in smaller government. So it's like, as all this crazy stuff's going on, it's like, at least we know we're not giving up all our money, our taxes, and our freedoms to the federal government. The left, they don't even have a platform anymore. They're just lying about everything. They're smearing anybody who doesn't agree with them, and they think you're alt-right if you don't believe in war. That sounds like a joke. That sounds like something weird I would make up. You can't make this stuff up. They're smearing left-leaning journalists for not being for a war, for being anti-war, and for wanting Syria to be Syria. And it makes it even goofier because we did what we're trying to do in Syria in Libya, and it resulted in slave trade. Wake up! Oh my goodness. It's mind-boggling. I could talk about it forever, just like I could talk about all the nonsense about what happened last week, but they'll probably censor me if I talk about that. So everybody already knows people are waking up every single day, and I think everyone could have an opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with Caitlin Johnstone. You don't have to agree with CNN. You don't have to agree with Mother Jones. But if you're a self-proclaimed feminist, left-leaning liberal, the white liberals here to save the day, they're so good, such good people. Why would you be calling for the censorship of a left-leaning journalist who's anti-war? I mean, this is the lowest of the lowest of the low. I am a bit nervous as where is this going to be in a month, because it's like every time I think they can't go lower, they find a way to go lower, and they find a way to go lower, and they find a way to go lower. I mean, you're already basically sitting in hell, standing next to the devil with your phone out on Twitter, like, how much further can I go? You dig any further, you're going to be on level 7, the secret devil's lair that nobody's ever been. Like, how much lower can you possibly go than threatening and trying to censor a liberal journalist for not being pro-intervention? I mean, it's absolutely out of control. Much love to Caitlin Johnstone. Much love to the good liberals and the good progressives and anybody with a brain. I will support you. I know you guys don't support me, and you guys are afraid in your groups to be like, oh, well, we can't like Anomaly because he doesn't lie about Bernie Sanders like we do. I get the whole drill. It's all good. You'll figure out eventually, and until then, I will support your right to speak, make journalism, and tell the truth, because that is something that, for some reason, 95% of the left-leaning journalists, they don't want you to do. Twitter doesn't want you to speak the truth. Facebook doesn't want you to speak the truth. Google doesn't want you to speak the truth. And it's not a coincidence. We get it. So thank you guys for joining. Have an amazing weekend. I just wanted to share this because it's absolutely baffling. And to anybody who says it isn't true, look it up. Shane Bauer. You can go to Jimmy Dore's Twitter. You can go to Caitlin Johnstone's Twitter. She wrote a whole article about it. They're literally smearing liberals for not believing in war. I mean, that's the one thing that liberals were supposed to be. Conservatives were supposed to be pro-war. Conservatives were the ones like, yeah, America, let's go fight the war. And liberals were like, no wars, peace and love and positivity, we can't fight. Isn't that what it was a year ago? And people act like I'm crazy for saying what I say. Conservative used to be pro-war, and liberals used to be about peace and love. Now you have senior editors at liberal feminist news organizations smearing other liberals for being anti-war. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's happening whether you pay attention or not. And it's happening, and they're not going to talk about it on CNN. They're not going to talk about it on NPR. They're not going to talk about it on Facebook. They're not going to feature it on Twitter. They're not going to feature it on Google because they don't want you to know, because they want to use tragedies. They want to use children. They want to exploit everybody. They want to exploit your emotions. They want to pander to you, to lure you in, to do absolutely nothing. So, I mean, that's just what it is. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to post my links below. All my social media I'll post. I'm going to post my donation link if you'd like to support. I appreciate you guys so much. It's allowed me to be able to do this stuff, and especially in this era of like mass censorship. They've taken down 2 of my videos in the past 48 hours, and I've never had a single video taken down. I get it. There's some things that they just don't want people to talk about, but I already knew that. I know their games. I know their drill. That's why usually I'm a little bit more cautious, but sometimes you just got to say it because, at a certain point, you either stand up or you stand down. So I know what they're doing. It's not really going to affect me, and we'll get through it. So thank you guys for your support, and please, before I leave, my last call, I don't care if you're progressive and you don't agree with certain policy stances I have or whatever, even though I don't have that many. I don't care if you're Republican or you're conservative or you're a good Democrat or you're Green Party or you're Libertarian or you're independent or you don't even live in the United States. Please pay attention to what's going on, because I've been saying this for a year and a half, and now people are starting to be like, oh, well, maybe that's true. I didn't see it before, but I see it now. It's not about left versus right. It's not about universal health care versus free market system. It's literally the mainstream media and politicians and high powers are trying to use the terms, and I've said this for a year now, they're trying to use the term alt-right to censor and silence and ban and just kick off the internet any conservative or any Republican. It doesn't matter how not alt-right you are. They're trying to use this Russia thing to further close up the internet and further close up Facebook and Twitter and Google and use it to justify, investigations and censorship and the silencing of good people. And they're now right-wing, Russia, racist. There's a few terms, there's a few words they have, and when there's a big event, when there's a big tragedy, it gives them more justification to take your video down. It gives them more justification to censor you. And I've told you this for a year before I leave. It doesn't matter if you're not alt-right. It doesn't matter if you're not conservative. It doesn't matter if you're the most left-leaning person ever. They will call you alt-right. I'm not surprised they did it today, because I told you this a year and a half ago. They're going to group you in. It's not about left versus right. It's about this ridiculous entity that's disguising itself as liberal versus any decent person. So just pay attention. Get used to it. Don't think that Donald Trump and every conservative is your enemy if you're progressive, because if you're an honest progressive like Caitlin Johnstone, the only people that are going to stand up for you is Donald Trump and the conservatives. The only people that are going to stand up for you are independents. And, it's not going to be people on the left. Please prove me wrong. If you think I'm lying, prove me wrong and start standing up for these people, because the only people that actually will stand up to you when push comes to shove are like the 5% of honest progressives like Jimmy Dore and Caitlin Johnstone. And, the H.A. Goodmans, even though H.A. Goodman, they want to pretend like they don't like me because it's a whole little clique and I'm not in it. But, they don't care about you. Bernie Sanders doesn't care about you. The liberal news organizations don't care about you. The progressive news organizations don't care about you. They want to silence and censor you. They want to use these labels to shut you down, to close down your platforms, and make it so you can never write or broadcast again. I wish I was lying. But don't believe me, just let it play out and keep playing the games you guys are playing. Much love. Have an amazing weekend. God bless you. God bless the world. God bless America. God bless your families. We will be back with some real news analysis and some good perspective. Thank you, guys.